Q open.
Callan, check your spot.
Camera 4, check your focus.
Carol, make sure the phone guests are standing by. Okay, Don, we're ready out here.
Okay, thanks. Let's rock and roll. Count them in.
10, 9,
Here we go.
8,
Flying graphic.
7,
Camera 2, I'm going to be coming to you
5,
first. Stand by to Q mark.
4, 3, 2.
And Q mark.
Last month, we had Dr. Matthew Harrison on talking about this, and you weren't here, but I know you're familiar with this project of the reversing the effects of RU46. That even after a woman has started this protocol, it's not too late necessarily, and that some doctors are having some successes reversing this. And we had Dr. Matthew Harrison on because he's involved in this to talk about it. Right afterward, we saw some stories coming out where the medical establishment now, and probably even I think the pro boards are behind this, pretty obvious that they are starting to now, you think?
Yeah.
They're starting to question these guys about this and suggesting that this may not be medically appropriate and, if this is the right thing to do. And so I kind of saw that this was, like I said, the fine hand of the abortion lobby. We've seen this. How many times have we seen this, Father Frank?
That's right.
Over the years you and I have been working together. This fits their pattern. This has got their fingerprints all over it.
That's right. Well, worse than that, RU46 was supposed to be the savior of the abortion industry as they saw everything collapsing in the surgical world. Right. They wanted to bring in RU46, and they were going to do away with surgical abortions, and all of us were supposed to go away. That was about 10 years ago.
Right. Here we are.
Now that you can reverse RU46, it's reversing their plans to promote abortion.
Well, I thought I would have Dr. Harrison back on this month, and he was gracious enough to give us the time. So, Dr. Harrison, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again.
And you're in Charlotte, North Carolina right now, right?
Yes, sir. Just north of Charlotte.
Yeah, we had Johnny Hunter on earlier, and he was in Charlotte. So it looks like all our guests this month were from North Carolina. I assume you're aware of, I don't want to call it an attack because I don't think it rises to that level yet, but you can see like I said, the handprints of the abortion industry all over this deal, and it will crescendo into an attack if they're not able to thwart it at this lower level. But you're seeing the same thing, are you?
We certainly are.
Are they going to have any success? One of the things that they're arguing, which is we know the hypocrisy of the what I call the godless left and the abortion lobby has no limits. One of the things they're arguing is that this is outside the medical protocol, and yet these people are administering RU46 in ways that it was never approved for, using protocol that was completely 180 degrees different than the clinical trials were used. But anyway, that's their argument. Are they going to be able to make that argument stand up?
Well, they can make the argument, but it certainly isn't going to hold water. I think the basic idea here is that people need to understand how research is performed. And unfortunately, a lot of physicians and people in the abortion industry apparently don't really understand how basic research is done. So initially, someone has an idea that makes scientific sense. And certainly, in this case, RU46, which is a blocker of progesterone, it seems like it would make perfect scientific sense to be able to undo that with extra progesterone. Because as everyone in receptor biology knows, and we're taught in very basic science class, that when a receptor receives a chemical that attaches to that receptor, it's very rarely locked and never coming off. It is in a state of flux constantly. It's on and it's off and it's on and it's off. And so if we can introduce more progesterone that will activate the receptor, then it makes good scientific sense that we could outcompete the RU46 that is not allowing the receptor to work. So that's the first step. The second step then is to see what happens in animal models. And this is old research that has been done, and we have seen in rat studies from years ago that if you administer both RU46 as well as progesterone at the same time, that the progesterone can outcompete the RU46 and nullify its effects. So that's step 2, and that's animal research. Now, depending on what you're researching, the next step can involve either controlled studies or retrospective studies. Now, it'd be unethical to have a lot of women become pregnant and then give half of them RE46 with progesterone and then half of them RE46 without progesterone and just see how many babies lived. That would be unethical. And one of the arguments that they're saying is that these studies that are being performed don't have an ethical board that's reviewing them. And that's correct, because all of these are retrospective studies. We find women who have made the decision on their own to reverse their abortion, and then we're following whatever protocol they were administered to see what happens, what the outcome is. And so this is how research has been done really for hundreds of years, especially in situations where we don't exactly know the outcome, and the outcome can be very life-changing and can even lead to death. So that's what we've done here, is the first study that Dr. Delgado and Dr. Mary Davenport published in the Journal of Pharmacotherapy in December of 2012 was just a case report. It showed 6 cases where a woman had changed her mind, had taken RU46, and then was administered progesterone. They were not all exactly the same because there is no established protocol until now. And so that's what we're trying to achieve, is to establish a protocol that's safe, that's very effective, and with time and with more data, we can fine-tune this protocol to make it as safe as possible and as effective as possible and as efficient as possible so that it's not costly, it's not uncomfortable, and that we can serve these women who have taken the bold move to save their babies' lives.
Well, I can assure you, having been at this well over 30 years, Father Frank would confirm this, Renee would confirm it, Troy would. They're going to come after you guys politically. You can just put that in your little calendar book, because that's what's going to happen. And I think this is the first shot of it. They're going to try it on a very low level and try to appear kind of almost intellectual about it. But when that doesn't work, and from what you're telling me it won't work, then the next step will be political. Yeah. And you can just anticipate that.
Sure, and that's okay, because we have many of us have been under attack for years for taking different stances in medicine. So, for instance, a lot of the research that was done on smoking, especially, of course, was done through Philip Morris researchers. And a lot of us in the medical community said, that's ridiculous. We know that smoking hurts people and kills people.
Right.
But the industry, and sometimes even media, many years ago, were saying, no, we have studies that show that smoking can even be healthy and beneficial for you. But this is very similar to how Planned Parenthood uses Guttmacher Institute, which is essentially their research arm. Right. And it's just like Philip Morris using their researchers to stand up for tobacco. Right. The abortion industry is using Guttmacher to stand up for abortion, and it's completely biased research and has ulterior motives. So I think that the medical community now is coming behind this. The science is getting stronger. We have better scientific data as far as ultrasound technology, imaging technology, and being able to understand what's happening to the person that's in the womb as well as the person that is carrying that womb. And I think that they're going to have a very difficult time convincing the world that now close to 300 physicians are signed up for this protocol around the world, and many more are jumping on board every day.
You know what I like about this, Matt, of course, you're one of our medical advisors at Priests for Life. You have been for a long time. And, you had the breakthrough case on this back in, was it 2006, 2007, we started talking about this. But what I like about the attacks are that they're responding to an initiative that we all took together, the American Association of Pro-Life OBGYNs and Priests for Life had this press conference back in February. And we did it at that particular time for a very calculated reason, because of the fact that this protocol has matured. And some 300 doctors are doing it, and it's been written up in a medical journal, and it's been shown to have a success record, and it's been, now's the time to take something like that and push it, and take the battle to the enemy, and go in front of the cameras, and get this word out. They can because then the good thing about this too is it's win-win. Because when the pro-aborts attack this, what are they doing? They're spreading the word about it.
Right.
Oh, these doctors have they claim to have a protocol to reverse RU486. Well, that's all people need to hear, because when you have an abortion procedure that takes several days, what's going to happen? Inevitably, what's going to happen is that the ambivalence that's in the heart and mind of so many of these mothers
from the beginning
kicks in from the beginning, kicks in and has time then for her to express it and time for someone to intervene.
Right, exactly. That's right.
I also find it very ironic that the abortion cartel is calling for an ethical board to review the studies of people who are trying to save lives that the other side is trying to kill.
And they're not calling for the ethical board to review their use of RU46, the fact that it is being used in a way that is totally contrary to the clinical trials.
Well, not to mention, Cytotec is an anti-cancer drug.
Right.
So, that's off-label use. But I just find it so ironic. The abortion industry, which by definition is unethical, they're killing children, are calling for an ethical investigation into those who are trying to undo what they're doing.
Like you said, the hypocrisy has no limits.
Right.
It has no bounds.
They always say that they're not for abortion, they're just for women having the right to choose. But apparently women should not have the right to unchoose. Right? Choice is, what we've said here a million times, choice is a one-way street. If you're choosing abortion, we're on your side. If you're going to drift off here and maybe go to a CPC and not want to have an abortion, we're going to fight you tooth and nail.
The big secret of the abortion industry in the United States, it thrives on coercion.
Coercion, that's right.
And that's why they hate this so much.
Coercion, manipulation, and lies.
That's right.
How many times do you talk to women or anybody that bought something, they have a little bit of buyer's remorse? There wouldn't be the term buyer's remorse if you didn't have that. And one thing we saw in the late-term abortion realm, when they were doing partial birth abortions or second trimester abortions, they'd insert the laminaria to dilate the cervix for a 2 or 3 day procedure. Oftentimes we could bring the women out, get the laminaria removed, and save the baby.
We talked about that last night.
Well, that's
this is the exact same scenario. Woman takes the pill and they go, oh my gosh, what have I done? And they can get in touch with these 300 physicians, get it reversed, and all of a sudden they've got a real baby.
Oh my God, what have I done? How many women have you talked to, Renee, since you've been here on the phone, that was exactly what their attitude?
A lot.
A lot of them.
Yes.
Too many.
And when you say, what have I done? And if at that moment that baby's still living, that's what we see here.
That's right.
The reversal of RU46 and the reversal of the late.
Well, Dr. Harrison, as I told you last month, we're really proud of you for what you're doing and want to support you in that. But I saw this happening and I thought, this is the beginning of it. And so I wanted to bring you on and just encourage you to understand what's going to happen in the future. And you're just going to have to be strong and withstand these people, because they are nasty and they are liars, and they're committed to the destruction of these babies, and they don't like anything that gets in their way, and you're starting to get in their way.
Well, we appreciate you bringing this to light, and keep up the good work of spreading that news.
Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us again.
My pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Mark, how can people that are watching this, maybe it's for the first time they've seen it or heard about it, and watched last month, how can they get in touch?
Well, we'll put they have a website, abortionpillreversal.com.
Right.
And we'll put that message up on the screen we did last month and let people know about it. But
there's a hotline number.
There's a hotline, 800 number, and they've gotten hundreds of physicians now on board to help with this, so they're spread out all over the country. It's not like they're all in North Carolina.
No.
Because it's important to act fast on this. If they've taken the pill today, they've got to get help today, tomorrow.
Right.
And the sooner they get help, the sooner they can get that baby
and
saved.
if our friends that are watching, our Life Talk viewers, tell your, if you got a pregnancy center, especially if it's a medical clinic and there's a physician, that physician should know about this. We have a kit that we provide them with the protocol, et cetera, et cetera. Spread the word.
Right, exactly. Well, that's all the time we have for this month. We want to thank you for joining us, and don't ever forget that Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how this killing is going to stop. We'll see you in June.